From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what we're working on for you over the next hour. Soybeans hold above $10, brightening attitudes and outlooks in farm country. Move over wheat. There's a new king in North Dakota creating a fertilizer frenzy.
2013, there was actually acres that never got seeded because we couldn't get fertilizer for them.
Thanks to a new plant, our Farm Journal report shows you why area farmers no longer have to worry about finding enough fertilizer when they need it the most. For those of you anxious for Mike's 90-day forecast, you're in luck.
By July, most of the country expected to be above normal.
And in John's world,
despite the wild markets, we're going to dig our way out of this inch by inch.
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado.
now for the market-related news, trouble in South America fueling more price rallies this week. The International Grains Council trimming soybean carryover this year. That's over increased concerns about the South American crop. Rains hurting harvest progress with soybeans ready to be cut, just setting in the field. The Grains Council now pegs the 2015 to 2016 carryover at 38 million metric tons, which is a 6 million metric ton drop from last month. Now here are some pictures we received from a farmer in Argentina. It shows you the damage from the ground level with soggy fields and equipment buried. These were taken about 5 hours north and west of Buenos Aires. Meanwhile, Brazil's drought could open the door for corn exports into the South American country for the first time in more than 2 decades. Just last week, the country dropped the 8 to 10% corn import tax for 6 months. That will allow for shipments into the country. This could be a new market for U.S. corn. Brazil is the world's 3rd largest corn producer. Corn planting is almost double the average pace. USDA says as of Monday, 30% of the crop is planted compared to the 5-year average of just 16%. Missouri farmers are about 50 points ahead of average. Iowa up 31 points, South Dakota beating the average by 22 points, and Illinois farmers 17 points ahead. USDA also reporting soybean progress for the first time this year. It shows farmers are 3% planted, which is just a point above average. Louisiana and Mississippi are both behind from all the wet weather they're seeing. The U.S. dollar sinking to an 11-month low this week as prospects for the Federal Reserve to increase interest rates wane. The drop boosted commodities heading to the best monthly return since 2010. Also this week, the yen making the biggest weekly jump since 2008. The Senate Judiciary Committee is moving forward with the investigation into the 2015 price collapse. In a response to RCAF USA's January request, the Senate Judiciary Committee last week requested the Comptroller General of the United States to use the Government Accountability Office to initiate the investigation. Members of the committee asking the GAO to investigate the cause of the sudden 15.1% drop in fed cattle prices that occurred during the latter half of the 2015, specifically requesting the GAO to conduct, quote, a review of the structure of the market and of any possible anti-competitive conduct. Feedlots are seeing an increase in numbers, signaling herd expansion may be starting to taper. USDA releasing its first April cattle on feed report showing March placements up 5% compared to last year. The number of cattle on feed is up 1% with 10.9 million head. South Dakota showing a major bump with feedlot capacity jumping up 13% from last year. Those are the headlines, and after a week off, meteorologist Mike Hoffman joins us now with weather. Mike, some heavy storms moving through areas. Will we see another active weather pattern next week?
Thanks, Tyne. The short answer is yes. It will be an active weather pattern again this coming week, but everything will be shifted a little farther south. All right, here's the drought monitor that we're seeing right now. You can see pockets in the east, pockets in the central plains. The worst areas continue to be California. But let's go back a month. And you can see in the drought monitor, we're starting to get pretty dry over parts of North Dakota and also parts of Kansas and panhandle of Oklahoma. But we've settled that down a little bit and kind of shrunk those areas that are getting really dry. All the rain that we've seen will probably keep shrinking that. This is long-term drought. And we've seen improvement, obviously, over the last year out west, but not a lot recently. Here's that next storm system. Lots of rain, parts of Texas, showers on up into Kansas on Monday. Maybe another snow in parts of the Rockies, not like you saw late last week. Shouldn't be that heavy anyway, or over this coming weekend. So the one on Monday won't be quite as much. Scattered showers in through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys into the northeast. By Wednesday, that storm is has already moved through the Gulf Coast area, moving up the eastern seaboard with areas of showers and steady rains in parts of that area, thunderstorms in Florida. Mild weather settling in out west for a while, another cold blast coming into the northern portions of the Great Lakes. By Friday then, a storm system out west with lots of areas of showers, maybe some snow in the highest elevations in the northern Rockies. And the cold front moving away with the warm front bringing warmth to the northern plains and back into the center of the country. We'll be back in our next half hour with a longer range forecast.
All right, thanks, Mike. We'll try to wrap our head around these wild markets right now. Tommy Grasaffi and Joe Vaklovic join me next.
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by Case IH. Be ready next harvest season with an axial flow combine from Case IH.
Thanks for coming today.
How you doing?
Well, today's going to be pretty easy. I want each of you to grab a 2x8 and cut it. You'll have 2 saws to choose from, a power saw or a hand saw. So which saw did you use?
Power saw. Power saw.
Power saw. You all chose the most powerful tool. Wouldn't it make sense to make the same choice when it comes to your truck?
Absolutely.
This is the 2016 Chevy Silverado. It offers the most powerful engine in its class.
Awesome. I'd say it's the best tool for the job. Right on.
You've committed to doing all you can to increase your yields and grow your bottom line. Like using Stratego Yield Fungicide and its 2 modes of action for unbeatable control of the major foliar soybean diseases. You'll get an average yield increase of 3 to 4 bushels per acre. Healthier fields means higher yields. You're ready to profit from the season with Stratego Yield.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
We're back now on U.S. Farm Report with Tommy Grasaffi of Advanced Trading and Joe Vaklovic of Standard Grain. Kind of an exciting week. We were able to keep above that $10 mark in soybeans. Tommy, just help us wrap around our heads around what's going on in the soybean market this week.
That's a great question. I was telling Joe off air, I've only been a broker for a little bit. I've never seen it busy as a broker. And we grew up in the industry together, and Joe's seen it busy before. The drought was crazy, but this was about as nuts as it gets, and people were excited. I actually saw some people call in, maybe they weren't clients, but they said they had forward sales in beans at $9. What do I do now? And so you could see that people have already given up control of the bushels at a lower price, and they're panicked. I actually saw more, it felt like anger or disgust that we were rallying, and that's not what the farmer should be thinking. So it's a heck of an opportunity. We went from maybe $50 loss per acre to a break even to an instant profit, and then that should be the fun part. And so it's corn and beans I'm more worried about.
Joe, looking at the fact that we were able to keep above the $10 mark this week in soybeans, does that signal anything to you?
I don't know if it signals anything, but the best thing about this rally in the bean market is that we did it without a U.S. production problem. Farmers still have all the potential in the world to grow a big bean crop and put a record yield out and capitalize on these prices. So that's the best thing about it. 2 months ago, everyone thought, well, if the bean market rallies, it's going to be because of a drought this summer, and that's not what we saw. So this is best case scenario for a rally, in my opinion. It's a great time of year for it. Bean market's held together very well. We've had a little bit of a shift in supply and demand. We've got Argentina crop problems. We've got some better exports. Crush margins have improved drastically since the first part of March. So the landscape of this thing has changed quite a bit.
Joe, you mentioned the fact that we do have these problems in South America. And Tommy, how long do you think that can fuel these markets and keep us at levels that we're seeing today?
According to the spreads at the Board of Trade, a while, because you see something like Nov 16, Nov 17 trading 50 cents over. So the market wants your soybeans, it wants them at harvest. It has a very high front month premium, and so the front months are bid above 10. When you look further out though, time towards Nov 17, 18, and 19, we go back towards that 940, 930 level. So it looks like the next 12 months have a story.
Can soybeans carry corn prices higher?
They haven't as of yet. We saw what I would probably call a false breakout in the corn market where we traded decent corn up to 409, and now we're back below $4. The corn acreage situation is a little more negative. I think the overall fundamentals are maybe a little more negative. I know for a fact that farmers are sitting on a lot more old crop corn than they are old crop soybeans, and I think that's probably the biggest problem right now.
Is weather the only thing you think that could move our corn prices higher?
No, not necessarily. You know, outside commodity markets are changing. We saw crude oil into new multi-month highs, the dollar into new lows, Brazil currency into new highs. It doesn't have to be weather. We saw that in the soybean market, but the corn's just got a little bit tougher road ahead of it, it seems.
So moving forward, how much risk do we have when we are heading, you know, we're not even finished with planting season yet. We thought we wouldn't get a rally until this summer, like Joe mentioned. So what type of risk do we have moving forward?
I feel we still have a great risk. As you wake up as a producer, you know, you have to ask yourself what your risk is. It's to the downside, right? But flip it around. What if you're an ethanol company? If I was an ethanol company, I'd be very worried about getting corn bushels bought. To Joe's point, we have plenty of corn. A lot of times we talk on this show about the producer's risk, but it's always a two-sided story. So you could look at people in the cattle industry. The cattle traded down the last few weeks as grain started to trade up. I don't know if that's what's influencing them, but there's risk to both upside and downside, and that's still pretty easy to manage. The risk is went up a little bit in the beans, and so it's a little bit more expensive to insure price of beans, especially to the upside.
Yeah. Joe, when we look at the basis, you know, we've had a lot of farmers frustrated. How do I manage this crazy basis right now? Is there any tools that they can use to do that?
Not necessarily, no. Basis is kind of generally a thing that you just have to seize an opportunity when it's there. When it's not there, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Basis sometimes improves during planting when there's not a whole lot of farmers selling. It's usually a function of the crop size. You know, that's why we've seen this stronger corn basis in the Eastern Corn Belt all year, because they had a much worse crop relative to the Western Corn Belt. So if you've got a bad basis right now, it probably means you were in a spot that had big crops last year. There's not a ton you can do about it. Just make sure that when you get some kind of opportunity, some kind of improvement, you take advantage of it.
Well, also helping prices, we have a weaker dollar. We're going to get into that, helping our exports as well. We'll talk about that when we come back on U.S. Farm Report, so don't go anywhere.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by the BV Series Round Baler from Kubota. For Earth, for life.
Take a look inside any rotary combine, and you'll find single rotor technology. Technology Case IH introduced over 35 years ago with the Axial Flow Combine. But unless it gives you more bells and whistles with fewer belts and chains, more power using less fuel, it's not an Axial Flow. Because while the heart of every rotary combine beats red, only Case IH gives you the power to do more.
Tommy, I'm a little disappointed. The yields weren't there and the prices are low. We need to sell at a good price. What do you advise?
Hi, it's Tommy Grisafi, and I would like to visit you at your farm to discuss strategies and risk management solutions that best fit your farm's interest. Call me at 855-737-FARM, and I will personally visit you at your farm. Experience solid market advice right on the farm.
Introducing the all-new DR Leaf and Lawn Vacuum, now at our lowest price ever. The DR cleans up acres of leaves and grass while you mow. In the spring, collect dead grass, wet leaves, and twigs from storm damage. Come summer, the DR makes a great high-capacity bagger, and in the fall, turns days of raking into a drive in the park. When it's time to unload, nothing could be easier. Look, just one hand. Plus, with the collector top removed, you've got a rugged utility cart that's great for all kinds of hauling chores. The DR is the most powerful, most versatile lawn machine you can buy.
Call 1-800-460-3185 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can own a DR for as low as $37 a month and get a 6-month product trial. Free shipping is now in effect, so call 1-800-460-3185. Online at drleafvac.com.
Welcome back. Well, right before break, I mentioned that the U.S. dollar actually we're at an 11-month low. Why are we seeing this dollar weaken, Tommy? And have we found a bottom here?
Well, it's definitely hard to predict what's going on, especially in the world of outside markets and currencies and the Fed. So what I do know is several countries have a zero or less than zero interest rate policy. Every few months we have a Fed meeting, and we've definitely changed our ways into, we're going to raise rates, to, you know what, rates are just fine. And so I really think there's a much bigger picture going on. I mean, we think as commodity traders and brokers that it's really neat what's going on, but look at something like Amazon yesterday. They had earnings, and Jeff Bezos made $6 billion in 10 seconds. That's just one person, right? Soybeans rally $1.50, and the American farmer made $6 billion. But the stock market's the real deal, and that's what I think the governments want to keep inflated, is the stock market. And I think they toss commodities to the side. Now, one of the benefits of the lower dollar is we've seen all the commodities, except for cattle and a few others, go up. And it's helped. It's just we've come to the idea that maybe a bushel of grain's not as cheap anymore.
Yeah. And Joe, it seems like the perfect storm because we have, everything that's going on in South America. We have this weakening dollar, and we have some really good export news, some actually surprising export numbers posted this week.
Yeah, we had some real strong corn and soybean exports, and it's an odd time of year for us to be really strong in exports. This is usually the time when, Brazil and Argentina harvest is going on, and most of the export business gets shifted down that way. Well, now we've got a situation where the Brazil currency made some new highs this past week. We've got production issues with the Brazil's second corn crop, with the Argentina soybean crop, and our corn and soybeans are looking pretty attractive on the world market right now. So this is great, and like I said earlier, it's the perfect time for a rally because we don't have any crop problems. That's the best part about it, is that it's early. The farmer doesn't have to worry about bad production yet at this time, and it could certainly happen, but it's the reasoning is good. It's much better than a crop failure.
Tommy, if we continue to have this weaker dollar and better export news for our major commodities, how will this help us moving forward this year?
It's going to at least create an opportunity for the farmer to break even. And so when you went to all the winter meetings, my theme was try to lose less than your neighbor. I think actually for some of the growers I work with, they have a chance to profit, and that's really fun. Whether they capture that profit or not, I'm not sure. I'm still very concerned about the corn. I've traveled up north a lot in those states that had the better yield, like Joe had spoke about, and they have the lower basis. And so there's a reason there's 60, 70 under basis in corn. It's not because we're running out. So I still think, even though it feels like corn's went up, your risk is still to the downside, and somehow you need to protect that and wrap some of that up.
Joe, do you think with the rally that we've seen, I know we've kind of had this false rally type that you talked about in corn, but with soybeans, do you think it's changed the attitudes in farm country?
I think that a more significant rally in the corn market would do that. The soybean market, maybe not to quite that extent, but it has changed the attitudes. Like Tommy said earlier, there's a lot of confusion. Why is the market up? What's going on? Why did I sell early? And you can never complain about better prices. Every farmer in the country just went from a loss to a profit in beans in 6 weeks. And you got to think of that as a good thing, even if you did make some early sales. It's best case scenario. We didn't want that market to stay cheap.
But not good news for these cattle folks. I mean, when we look at these losses just this week alone, why are we seeing so much pressure over there, Tommy?
Joe had brought up off the air that you can buy a lot of chicken for $20. And so I went shopping for my wife the other day, do her a favor, and I went to go buy beef, and I didn't end up with 4 steaks. I only ended up with 2 steaks. And so, times are tough for everyone. I think a lot more money is going towards health care and other hidden expenses in America that people don't realize. And when times are tough, you're going to go to the pork and chicken, and us Italians go to pasta.
You guys also mentioned there's been a kind of a shift in prices. We are seeing much stronger hog prices at this point. Is that just because mainly we're seeing better demand from areas like China?
Yeah, a little bit. We saw some better exports this past week. I personally think that when the hog market was making those lows in the 40s, 50s, it was too cheap. You look at the historical stuff and where we generally bottom out. 40, 50 is too cheap. The 70, 80 range seems to be historically a little more fair, and I kind of think that's where we stay for a while.
All right, well, we want to get your closing thoughts. What should your game plan be moving forward? We will ask both Joe and Tommy when we come back.
Receive a free trial of the Daily Market Letter and gain knowledge about current market conditions from the professionals at Bauer Trading. View the markets like never before. Go to BauerTrading.com.
Attention, catheter patients on Medicare. I'm a professional cowboy, and I use catheters. Been cowboying for 25 years. I've broken 14 bones, had 2 concussions, and a punctured lung. I know pain, and I don't want any more of it, especially when I cath. Now, I use these new nearly painless catheters from Medical Direct Club. They hurt less. Compared to the old ones, these ain't nothing. Here's how it works. You call and you get a free catheter sample. I was just like you, wondering if I should call. Boy, I'm glad I did. Give yourself a break from pain and try these new catheters. You won't know unless you try them. Give them a call now. You have nothing to worry about. They bill Medicare and your insurance company. You pay nothing up front. You get your free nearly painless catheter sample sent right to your home.
Call 1-800-280-5648. That's 1-800-280-5648. Call now.
Hi, Tom Parent here for DR Power Equipment. Is your driveway a bumpy road full of potholes, washboard, and ruts? Well, for lots of folks that live in the country, this is a normal ride. But it doesn't have to be this way. Not when you own a DR Power Grader, now available at a new low price. Tow the Power Grader behind your riding mower, utility tractor, or ATV. With each pass, the Power Grader loosens, redistributes, and levels surface materials. Potholes and ruts are filled in, washboard is smoothed out, and your resurfaced driveway is ready to roll.
Call 1-800-708-5320 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. You'll learn how you can own a DR Power Grader for as little as $799.99. Free shipping is now in effect, and with our 6-month at-home trial, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-708-5320. Online at drpowergrader.com.
Welcome back. Time to get closing thoughts. Tommy, let's start with you.
You know, it's been an interesting couple months. A lot of traveling over the winter, met a lot of great people. A lot of people are concerned there's not as much joking and laughing as there used to be, and I saw some people who didn't come back to farming. Now, for the folks left farming, this is going to be one of the greatest opportunities ever, but this constant battle of price isn't going to go away. And so if soybeans go up to $11, $12, you're going to send a signal to the world that America couldn't get it done. We need your help. And other countries will respond. And so these prices, it's fun to watch them go up, but there's still downside risk, and it needs to be managed, and you get to start at a much better price than where we were a few months ago.
All right. Thanks, Tommy. Joe?
I've been doing this 11 or 12 years now. Up until this last year, I've never seen as much worry about prices and as we've seen this year, and it's, of course, because of margins. Prices historically are still fairly high, but the margins are all that really matters. So the soybean market, what it's just given you is a gift, I think, and the corn market hopefully gives us something to work with in the future. But remember those concerns from a few months back and where we're at right now.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys both so much. Stay with us. John Phipps joins us when we come back.
This is Machinery Pete, inviting you to check out my new website, machinerypete.com. Offering farmers tens of thousands of used equipment listings to search, let Machinery Pete help you find and value your next piece of used equipment.
Once you cut a tree down, what do you do about the stump? Grind it down with a DR Stump Grinder, the fast, easy, and affordable solution for stump removal. Thanks to the power of a world-class engine and carbide-tipped cutting teeth, the DR Stump Grinder tackles any size stump. With each pass, these teeth quickly shave the stump down, taking a remarkable 360 bites per second. In no time, the stump is completely gone. All that's left behind is a pile of wood chips. Get behind the power of a DR Stump Grinder to rid your property of tree stumps forever.
Call 1-800-515-4765 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can try a DR stump grinder for 6 months. With our special financing plan, you can own a DR for as low as $42 a month. Plus, get free shipping if you call now. 1-800-515-4765. Online at drstumpgrinder.com.
If you're age 85 or younger, call
800-285-8608.
to learn more about the senior care plan from Angel Care Insurance Services. The average funeral now costs over $7,000, but the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255, leaving your loved ones to pay your debt. The senior care plan will pay up to $30,000 for funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam, and you'll have lifetime coverage. Your rates will never increase, your benefits will never decrease, and your plan cannot be canceled. To receive free information about the senior care plan and its benefits, call the number on your screen now. Also, receive information about a free prescription discount card by calling now. There's no obligation. Operators are standing by.
Call 800-285-8608. That's 800-285-8608.
As we just talked about in the roundtables, the commodity markets have been surprising lately. John Phipps gives his 2 cents from the farm. John?
Just like how kids seem to get sick on Friday night or right before vacation, the grain markets decided to get crazy right when most of us were up to our ears in field work. What made the whole episode even more unsettling was the uniform astonishment from just about every market watcher or advisor. After all, the USDA had just announced whacking stockpiles and production estimates, and it was hard to make any case for a $1+ rally in plentiful soybeans, for example. But that's what happened. And luckily, we have other voices to advise and try to make sense of this unexpected event. While I did make some small sales during the rally, I was pretty much simply kind of reacting to illogical good fortune. Undoubtedly, I, along with others, will look back and lament how I should have sold more during this wild market move. The overall arithmetic of grain production hasn't changed much, so few of us are making another dramatic price spike the centerpiece of our market plan. Making my average price a little higher with some recent sales isn't going to completely solve my per acre income problem, but if this downturn in ag is like others I have known, the recovery could look a lot like what just happened. Eking out small victories in the market and chiseling pennies per acre off our costs. There probably won't be any dramatic turnaround that changes our future seemingly overnight. I think this is true as well for our country as a whole. Even as some candidates are urging sweeping political revolution or bold unilateral action, it seems to me we'll probably solve our problems inch by inch. It's not fun or even particularly exciting, and we often seem to be moving too slow. But steady effort and relentless work will provide effective, if unglamorous, progress. And if we do have some wild week where unexpected opportunities present, we will do our best to take advantage of such good fortune and make sure it gets spread to as many as possible.
Thanks, John. Well, still to come, we're heading to North Dakota, where not only has the acreage mix changed, but the demand for fertilizer just keeps ramping up. It's a game changer, and we'll talk about it in our Farm Journal report.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast. From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report. We have much more ahead over the next 30 minutes. An acreage shift in North Dakota is forcing a major input supplier to step up their storage game. That's our Farm Journal report. Baxter Black has a special tribute to life on the farm and ranch. Who's really benefiting from farm subsidies? That's customer support. And if you're worried about a hot, dry summer, Mike gives us our first glimpse in his 90-day. Now for the headlines, more farmers are relying on operating loans just to get through 2016. That's according to the latest report out of the Kansas City Federal Reserve. The Fed says as farm income remains suppressed during the first quarter of the year, the volume of loans remains record high. In the first quarter, loans larger than $100,000 accounted for 77% of non-real estate farm loans. That's up 72% from 2011. The KC Fed also reporting delinquency rates on farm loans ticking up. I spoke to a West Texas farmer this week who sits on a bank board about the situation.
We've seen some volunteer, retirement and liquidation, but there's a lot of pressure on people out there. In fact, there's still quite a few farmers that haven't been financed. That usually takes place from January through the middle or end of March. And there's been so many that have had to go to FSA credit, to get their loan package. And those folks are backed up. And so even last year, we had some people didn't even know till June. For sure.
Haygood says the real stress is on young producers who rely on loans, and they're just getting further into debt each year. USDA is seeing the same thing, saying the overall farm economy continues to struggle. The share of farm businesses that are highly leveraged continues to rise. Researchers say it has been rising since 2012. This year, it's forecast to increase yet again. In 2016, USDA says the share of very highly leveraged crop farms could hit its highest level since 2002. Farmers are seeing a little relief on the cash rent side of the balance sheet. Creighton University reporting cash rents down 7% in its latest Rural Main Street Index. Rural bankers saying cash rents now average $211 per acre this year. One agricultural company posted a forecast this week signaling the worst may be coming to an end for this era of ag. In its latest earnings report, DuPont company forecasting a profit for the first time in 3 years. DuPont CEO says he doesn't necessarily see the farm economy improving. Instead, maybe we're starting to find a bottom. Farmers battle rootworm and other resistant pests, but thanks to a new breakthrough from Harvard University and Monsanto, there could be a new solution to Bt resistance. Monsanto calls its phase-assisted continuous evolution, or PACE technology, and it will create new insect control traits for crops. The way it works is bypassing where the resistance occurs in an insect using the PACE technology. It's almost like resetting the Bt technology in a lab. Monsanto says this will help them stay ahead of insect resistance. Dannon says it's committed to bringing customers production from more natural ingredients. On Tuesday, Dannon pledged to its farmers, retail customers, and consumers to ramp up the standards for sustainable agriculture practices in its milk production. Included in that promise is to source all milk from cows that eat non-GMO feed over the next 3 years. The company also saying all other ingredients sourced from products will be non-GMO as well. Meanwhile, a company relying on sustainability as its main marketing ploy is struggling to recover after the recent food safety scare sent sales plunging. Chipotle Mexican Grill shows first quarter profits falling 23%, making it the first loss as a public company. The E. coli outbreak sickened dozens of customers last fall. The company says it's looking at a recovery in 2017 at the earliest. Agriculture lost another friend this week. Former Montana Senator Conrad Burns died. Burns served 3 terms as a U.S. Senator representing Montana, helping set the course for public lands management across the West. He spent part of his career as a farm broadcaster, starting the Northern Ag Network. Burns was 81. That's a check of your news. We'll check back in with Mike Hoffman now. Mike, some of our viewers are worried about a hot and dry summer, so we're anxious to see your 90-day this week.
Thanks, Tyne. Yes, indeed. We're going to check the 90-day here in about 15-20 seconds. But first, the jet stream for this week. You can see another quick shot of colder air with the trough developing back in during the second half of the week for the Great Lakes into the northeast. But there's some question how far south that cold air comes. Another cutoff low in the southwest. That's interesting. The warmth builds up to the middle of the country, though, this week. You can see, especially as we head into the weekend. All right, May temperatures above normal. The East Coast, Northern Plains, Great Lakes back into the west, below normal for Texas and New Mexico and some surrounding areas. June temperatures will shrink that below normal area into the Rio Grande Valley, otherwise above normal most of the east, Northern Plains, and most of the west. By July, most of the country expected to be above normal, much of southern Canada as well. Near normal, though, for New Mexico and Texas. Precipitation over the next 90 days, this is a tougher call, but I'm going above normal from the Four Corner region through the southern half of the southeast and up the eastern seaboard, below normal up along the Canadian border. Tyne?
Thanks, Mike. USDA thinks farmers in North Dakota will plant fewer acres of corn, wheat, soybeans, dry edible beans, and hay this year. But that acreage mix is much different than what some farmers planted just a decade ago, and wheat is no longer king. In this Farm Journal report, we tell you why a major acreage shift is prompting a major input supplier to step up their game in order to keep up with farmer demand.
We're going to be down in wheat acres, up in corn acres.
As a fourth-generation farmer, Curtis Christensen says growing corn is fairly new to him.
With the advent of all the new hybrids, 78, 80-day hybrids, it's made corn a very viable crop in this area.
Up until 2011, not a single acre of this fertile land had ever seen corn.
Basically, it was a huge learning curve.
Christensen overcame the agronomic battle by absorbing as much information as he could, including how to harvest a crop so far north.
Just about every acre we take off here has to be dried because we're so far north, so we actually had to put in a big drying system. It's a 2,000 bushel an hour dryer, and so we start as early as we can, usually around the 1st of October.
Another challenge farming in this area is its close proximity to the Red River.
This is a map of Pembina County. The Red River forms our eastern boundary. Minnesota's over on this side. We're right here.
Having a river as your neighbor means fall fertilizer isn't an option. So for Christensen, applying fertilizer in the spring has to get done quickly.
Farmers are getting more efficient. Their equipment's getting bigger. So we had to amp up on our side and start, improving the way we do things.
While farmers are more efficient in the field, just a few years ago, railways in the northern plains were clogged from heavy demand and unfavorable winter weather.
2 years ago, the way the rail, with all the oil in the Bakken crude, you couldn't get a rail car around here for anything.
He says it was the perfect storm, meaning some farmers couldn't get fertilizer at all.
2000, I believe, 13, there was actually acres that never got seeded because we couldn't get fertilizer for them.
Seeing that need, CHS Ag started constructing this Drayton fertilizer plant, an $8 million investment.
When spring rolls around is to have a lot, close to 90 to 100% of all our spring needs in our fertilizer plants in our 20 locations. And logistically, we won't be so dependent on the railroad or truck facilities out of Minneapolis or wherever it may be.
Since 2008, this CHS facility is the 5th to undergo a massive expansion.
It's a 12,500 ton plant. Holds about 8,500 ton of urea, 3,500 ton of phosphate, 500 ton of AMS, 500 ton of potash, and then it also has a few microbens in it, totaling about another 100 ton of storage.
Grunstrom says the upgrade allows CHS to be faster and more efficient.
The old plant, we would load out a semi out of the building in about 20 minutes, and it would take us 40 minutes to dump one back in. We hauled in some phosphates here earlier, and we were dumping a truck in about 3 minutes.
It's not just an increase in capacity inside the plant. The pressure on the rail has also eased.
When they say it's going to be here, they're within probably a day, day and a half of that target date instead of, who knows, weeks.
But 2016 is bringing its own set of challenges, including farmers waiting until the last minute to buy their fertilizer needs.
I would say there's probably 40% that's out there, 30 to 40% that's not, committed to what they're going to do, and until it comes time to fill the drill or spread the fertilizer, they might not know.
Christensen knows 2016 won't be an easy road, but with his 2 sons by his side, their game plan is set, ready to take on what he calls a challenging year.
We're trying to hold the debt down. I mean, we try to run on as much cash as we possibly can. My son is an extremely good marketer. They have over half the crop sold before it even goes in the ground.
CHS Ag says their northern locations have been pretty wet this spring, but the long-range forecast looks promising to get fertilizer on so farmers can start to plant. Up next, John Phipps.
Get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. Visit lovelandproducts.com/radiate. See your CPS dealer today.
Is the early application of fungicide profitable on corn? Does it really make me money?
One of the things is you're going across the field anyway with a herbicide, probably a post-emergence herbicide. It's easy and cost-effective to throw a fungicide in the tank with that application. Now, early season, we're trying to do two things. We're trying to protect the leaves in the middle of the canopy and gives good stalk quality. There's a lot of good benefits out of that. When you're going through that field, you're harvesting, you're burning fuel by the hour with your combine. If I have to slow down because my stalks aren't standing well, then I'm increasing my cost per acre. If I'm going to 4 miles an hour, I have to slow down suddenly to 2 miles an hour because my stalks aren't standing straight. I just double the cost of fuel invested in harvesting. Nothing to do with yield, but that's direct money out of my pocket. So the value of an early season fungicide is not just the yield increase, but also the increased efficiency you see through the season. There's a lot of value from that early season application.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-316-1198 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-316-1198. Call now.
Your call is very important to us. Please hold.
Farm subsidies can be a controversial topic for some, and for one viewer, they have an interesting question for John about who really benefits from the program. That's this week's Customer Support.
This week, we have a comment about the effect of farm subsidies from Kay Temple. I have a problem with a $13.8 billion subsidy program. Farmers have paid $10 to $20K an acre and $300 to $500 cash rent, knowing it won't pencil out. We've given these individuals a way not to be wrong. It also has given them a way to bully their neighbors. Thank you for your feedback, and please send me an address. Longtime viewers will know I'm not a big fan of farm subsidies, but not for the same exact reasons as this viewer. The last few months have seen an avalanche of articles and comments about the farmer profit squeeze and where the blame should be placed, but I don't think it's the subsidies necessarily. Farm subsidies may seem like a way to favor one farmer over another, but because they flow to acres, not people, they really are fairly neutral within a specific commodity. For example, if all farmers got a $50 an acre ARC payment for 2014 corn, then they all can bid $50 more for cash rent, and they do. Payments that flow to acres, not people, inevitably become built into the price of land. It's called capitalization. Remember, income flows to the scarcest asset. It also means the real beneficiaries of farm subsidies are landowners, not producers. Now, to be sure, farmers are landowners too, but it's important to recognize which role is more important for farm payments. It's like making the basketball rim larger. Good shooters will still be more competitive. If subsidies were eliminated, the effect would be the same. Good farmers would still be more competitive, but cash rents and eventually land prices would decline. Any perceived bullying has more to do with economies of scale, I think, where farming more spreads fixed costs like living expenses or farm insurance out over more acres. Subsidies can distort competition between farmers who grow different crops, such as encouraging wheat farmers to plant corn or vice versa. But for producers of each subsidized commodity, farm payments really only help the landowners.
Thanks, John. And if you have questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@usfarmreport.com. Up next, we'll head out west to visit Baxter Black.
We're always up for a new challenge. We take pride in every project and every square foot. With Kubota's full lineup of subcompact and compact tractors, we tear down, build up, and create landscapes. We plant, grow, and harvest. We are Kubota. This is what we do.
Every successful grower knows that the best crops need strong roots, and that means they need Radiate Plant Growth Regulator. Radiate features 2 powerful active ingredients that help young crops quickly develop the longer, healthier roots they need for more nutrient uptake, early vigor, and stress resistance. Applied either foliar or in furrow, Radiate makes all the difference for a wide variety of crops. So get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. See your CPS dealer today.
We're all aware of catastrophic storms that can knock out power to millions. Powerful storms and high winds that bring down power lines. Even rolling blackouts caused by our nation's faltering electrical grid. So how can you protect your home and family from all these uncertainties? The answer is a home standby generator from Generac. It stands guard, ready to automatically supply power to your home within seconds of a power outage. For a free buyer's guide and DVD all about Generac home backup power, call 1-800-731-0399. You'll learn all about automatic home generators starting at just $18.99. Online at freegeneratorguide.com.
It's one of the best investments I've ever made in this house.
It gives you security, it's reliable.
That gives you that feeling of security that, to me, is priceless.
Call now for a limited time bonus offer worth $495. That's 1-800-731-0399.
Every rancher has his or her own operation, but we're all in it together. We head out west and hear from Baxter Black.
People who work with livestock have a common bond. I feel like you could take a Carolina farmer or a California rancher and put them in with a Zulu tribesman or a Latvian reindeer herder, and it wouldn't take long for them to be useful. We'd know where to stand, how to herd them, and when to be quiet and when to be quick. But how do we describe this ability? What is it that makes certain people good with livestock? Animal science professors do a good job trying to translate what we do into words, but in the end, it's a much deeper concept. It's an understanding that somehow allows us to communicate with the animals God gave us dominion over in the first chapter of the Bible. The animals define us. A cowboy is the way he is because he works with stock. He's learned it's best to ease along, to find the rhythm in their song, and not to fret if days are long, because cows don't punch a clock. The job ain't done until it's done. That's life down on the farm. To gather those who tend to stray, to treat the sick on Christmas Day, and if she needs your help, to stay until she's safe from harm. You see, you can't just quit a cow. Sometimes you're all she's got. No reinforcements in the hall, no 911 to hear her call. Just you, nobody else, that's all, to get her through the spot. His calling is as old as time, it is, will be, and was. Through blizzards, bogs, and barbed wire fence, he stands against the pestilence, and though he feigns indifference, he's proud of what he does, done without a second thought by those who tend the flock. It's what I do, you'll hear him say, with no demand for higher pay. And I believe we are that way because we work with stock. This is Baxter Black, stockman from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. You can hear more from Baxter online at baxterblack.com. When we come back, Al Pell has this week's Tractor Tales and Country Church Salute.
Take a look inside any rotary combine, and you'll find single rotor technology. Technology Case IH introduced over 35 years ago with the axial flow combine. But unless it gives you more bells and whistles with fewer belts and chains, more power using less fuel, it's not an axial flow. Because while the heart of every rotary combine beats red, only Case IH gives you the power to do more.
Tommy, I'm a little disappointed. The yields weren't there and the prices are low. We need to sell at a good price. What do you advise?
Hi, it's Tommy Grisafi, and I would like to visit you at your farm to discuss strategies and risk management solutions that best fit your farm's interest. Call me at 855-737-FARM, and I will personally visit you at your farm. Experience solid market advice right on the farm.
Introducing the all-new DR Leaf and Lawn Vacuum, now at our lowest price ever. The DR cleans up acres of leaves and grass while you mow. In the spring, collect dead grass, wet leaves, and twigs from storm damage. Come summer, the DR makes a great high-capacity bagger, and in the fall, turns days of raking into a drive in the park. When it's time to unload, nothing could be easier. Look, just one hand. Plus, with the collector top removed, you've got a rugged utility cart that's great for all kinds of hauling chores. The DR is the most powerful, most versatile lawn machine you can buy.
Call 1-800-460-3185 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can own a DR for as low as $37 a month and get a 6-month product trial. Free shipping is now in effect, so call 1-800-460-3185. Online at drleafvac.com.
Welcome back to Tractor Tales. This week we've got an unauthorized John Deere tractor from Northwest Washington State. Originally built from 1941 until 1946, this model LA came in classic John Deere green or industrial yellow.
This started out to be a 1944 John Deere LA, and when I got it, the wife found it in a little nickel one-ad paper, and when we went down to Seattle to look at it, it was just a big pile. And so we put it in the back of the pickup and brought it home and pieced it together. The wheels were bad, so I thought, well, we'll make something different. So I got some axles out of a John Deere 40 for the front. I got some skid steer wheels for the back, and this is what we ended up with. They asked, did John Deere really make one like this? And we just say, no, it was just kind of one we made ourselves. And at least on this one here, a person can reach the pedals, and that's what the wife's main issue was, because she drives it and the grandkids, they drive it around. Just kind of go to parades and shows and stuff, and we use it around the place. We pull a little trailer to put the lawn clippings in it, and we might harrow the field with it or something, but we don't use it for very much as far as work goes. Got a 9 horsepower little John Deere engine in it. The engine that came with the tractor wasn't any good, and this is a LCU engine that they use on the combines, and they bolt right into the L series tractors, so that's what this is. Well, I moved the seat ahead quite a ways on it, so I can get on and off of it from the side, and the seat's off of an international tractor that the wife did have it in her flower bed for a flower box, so we thought, well, we'll use it on this. And other than that, everything else is just pretty well John Deere like it came.
Thanks, Carl. Today's Country Church salute goes to the Bernadotte Lutheran Church located just east of Lafayette, Minnesota. The congregation is celebrating their 150th anniversary this weekend. Our thanks to church member Ruth Klossner for sharing their story. And as always, we want to learn about your home church as well. Salutes can be sent to the address on the screen. Stay with us. Crop Watch is next.
Which genetics work best in your conditions? How do you optimize nutrition levels? Can you get more from your crop protection? How does data improve each of your acres? With every question, there is an opportunity for growth, because the right answers can help bring it all together.
Thanks for coming today.
How you doing?
Well, today's gonna be pretty easy. I want each of you to grab a 2x8 and cut it. You'll have 2 saws to choose from, a power saw or a hand saw. So which saw did you use?
Power saw. Power saw.
Power saw. You all chose the most powerful tool. Wouldn't it make sense to make the same choice when it comes to your truck?
Absolutely.
This is the 2016 Chevy Silverado. It offers the most powerful engine in its class.
Awesome. I'd say it's the best tool for the job. Right on.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4.
high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Welcome back. Well, more planting progress to report on this week, Mike. Mark is busy planting in Colorado and says conditions couldn't be better for planting corn, but he wants to know if weather is going to delay him soon. And I'll let the weather expert answer that. By the way, Mike, that would be you.
Well, they've been getting rain this weekend, so I have a feeling he's probably shut things down already.
Yeah.
So, Austin started planting corn April 9th in Moweeka, Illinois, and this is a picture of the field he planted first. He says they just finished planting last weekend, and it's coming up nicely with good stands.
Well, Mike, even though it's been pretty cool in Minnesota, David Nigg says his grandson has the tractors ready to plant. Look at this. Camden is only 1 year old, and as you can see, he's not that brand loyal as he has most of those tractor brands covered. And look at those coveralls. He is ready to go. So cute. Thanks for that picture.
No doubt. Farmers just east of Kansas City had some pretty nasty weather this week. Record rainfall in a day, then the next day some farmers were lucky enough to see hail. Jacob Munkoff took this picture of the storm rolling in. You can see it just over the hill as the cows are grazing away. And speaking of the hail, Jacob grabbed a video of it just nailing the ground and crops, and here's the aftermath. Jacob thinks the crops will come out of it, but as you can see, it's definitely left its mark. And hail's amazing when it's coming down hard.
And just brutal weather this week. We had hail, tornadoes, snow this weekend for some of our viewers out west. When do things calm down and warm up?
I don't see this pattern changing at this point immediately, but I do continue to see by the end of May and through the summer, most of the Corn Belt's going to be warm.
Too warm?
I doubt it. I think we'll be okay on the moisture.
Yeah. All right.
That's a tougher call, though.
I know. All right. Well, as always, we want to hear from you. Send your comments to mailbag@usfarmreport.com. Also, those photos, videos, you can post those on Facebook or Twitter as well. For all of us at US Farm Report, I'm Tyne Morgan. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to join us again right here next week as we work to build on our tradition. Have a great weekend, everyone, and be sure to be safe in the field.
High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Chevy Silverado, the official news-gathering vehicle of U.S. Farm Report. U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.